We're going to be talking a bit about why you should be teaching financial capability, what is sorted in schools, how can you find some resources that your students are going to enjoy, and if you're new to teaching financial capability, I'm going to give you some hints and ideas about where you can start. So why teach financial capability? If you're here, you're probably interested in teaching financial capability already. One thing we know is that our young people now have access to credit from a very young age. Unfortunately, they're able to get themselves into a significant amount of debt, and we know that that can hold them back significantly when they go out into the world and become financially independent. According to the PISA Financial Literacy Assessment, the percentage of students performing below the baseline level in New Zealand is 16%. What that means is that our learners are not yet able to apply their knowledge to real-life situations involving financial issues and decisions. We obviously want to change that. This information comes from the Financial Services Council of New Zealand. Last year, they launched their Financial Resilience Index. They observed that there continues to be a drop in respondents' perceptions of their financial literacy across 4 of the 5 key financial literacy indicators. The drop was between 5 and 8% since 2020. 8% of respondents to this index reported that most of their investments were in KiwiSaver, followed by cash, including term deposits and also New Zealand shares. Most employed New Zealanders have less than 6 months worth of expenses saved, according to this Financial Resilience Index. And 2 in 5 New Zealanders would be unable to access $5,000 if something unexpected were to happen. 52.6% of respondents also stated that financial issues have adversely affected their overall well-being. This includes physical, mental, emotional, and social health factors. So what do students say about sorted in schools and financial capability in general? We did a survey with NZCER last year, and we surveyed year 9 and 10 students. We found that students are really interested in learning about financial literacy. Often it's something that's not really on their radar, but once they start learning about it, they want to keep learning. They had some wonderful financial goals, which included paying for their own study, buying houses, and also they talked about not wanting to be a burden to their family as they got older. We found that many young people do have role models that they can look up to. These were people that they deemed to be good with money. Often they were people that they thought were good savers. However, this was not always the case. Not all young people have someone who can talk to them about money. And this is why you as teachers have a really important role to play in helping our young people become financially capable. It also means that students come into your classroom with a wide range of knowledge about financial matters. Some will know some, and then as you've probably observed, some of your students don't have much in the way of financial knowledge when they come into your classroom. So I'm curious to hear from you. Who is teaching a bit of financial capability? Who is new to financial capability? You can use your Zoom reactions to let us know. Give us a thumbs up if you have been teaching a fair bit of financial capability in your class or in your school and you feel quite confident with it. Give us the hands clapping if you've taught a little bit of financial capability, or a heart if you haven't taught much yet, but you are keen to get started. Would love to see what kind of experience we have around the room. I'm seeing a couple of hearts. So I think there's some people who are just getting started on their journey to teaching financial capability, which is great. A few people seem to have taught a little bit of financial capability, which is all good. That's what we're here for today. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some resources you can use. So what is Sorted in Schools? Sorted in Schools offers free financial capability resources for schools. We are government funded. We operate under the Retirement Commission. the same organization that brings you Sorted, which is the site for adults, the one with the mouse that you've probably used at some point. We offer resources for multimedia education and English medium education, and I'll be talking about the English medium resources today. Our resources are online. They're available on our website for you to download or to use the tools online as interactive tools for you students. So head along to sortedinschools.org.nz to start looking for resources for your students. Why should you be using Sorted in Schools? I know now there are quite a few providers who offer resources for teaching financial capability. As I've mentioned, all of our resources are free. Our information is unbiased and trusted information, similar to what you would find on the Sorted website. We like to keep our resources flexible so that you can adapt them for your students. You are the best judge as teachers of what your students need. We follow best teaching practice. Our resources continue through to the senior secondary school. So if you're also teaching seniors, we offer achievement standards and unit standards, which I'm not going to talk too much about today, as we'll be focusing on year 9 and 10 resources. Our resources are also aligned to the Ministry of Education financial capability progressions. And we also support you to teach financial capability with free PLD. And I'm also a resource. I'm always here to help teachers if you have questions or you need help creating a program or using the resources in your class. So when you're getting started with Sorted in Schools, I do encourage you to sign up. We send email updates to let you know when we launch new resources or when we update resources or if we have PLD or other events. But I promise we won't spam you or anything like that. When you sign up, you will get a teacher dashboard like this. It allows you to save resources you want. There's a star in the right-hand corner of the modules. So I'll show you how to save resources and then they will be saved to this dashboard so that you can find them easily. One important thing to note is that your students do not need to sign up. The sign up function is only for teachers. If you are teaching seniors as well, you do absolutely need to be signed up so that you can request assessment resources. That's just one thing to note. Okay, so our resources cover several themes. These include debt, goal setting, insurance, investing, KiwiSaver, managing my money, retirement, and saving. So I'd like you to have a think about which theme you think is most relevant to your students at the moment. This will very much depend on your students, the area in which you live, and your school community. It will also depend on whether or not your students have done any financial literacy before, as some will not have. Put a note in the comments if you would like to tell us which of these themes you think would be interesting and useful for your students. Again, those themes are debt, financial goal setting, insurance, investing, KiwiSaver, managing my money, retirement, and saving. Or maybe there's something else that you really want to teach your students about. I see someone's got a big saving. Yes, that's a really important one. And saving is a great place to start. I'll be talking a bit about some of our resources on saving today. Investing is another one that someone has mentioned. A lot of teachers have been saying to me that their students are interested in investing. It's quite a hot topic at the moment. So yes, we do have resources for your students about investing too. Great. Tax, love it. Yes, we did recently create some tax resources and they've been very well received actually. Turns out students love learning about tax, which I didn't realize. Investing and managing money. Yes, great. Managing money is another good one and I'll be talking about that today. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Debt. Oh, I like it, about gender issues which have a huge impact on income. Yes, that is a great topic. Credit and interest. Yes, yes, absolutely. Great. Thank you for those comments, everyone. Okay, so where do you get started? So we created a getting started document for teachers and To find this Getting Started document, you go to Teachers, and then you click on Getting Started. You will also note that under this teacher page, there's a primary and intermediate area. So if you are teaching year 7 and 8, you can click on that primary and intermediate button, which will take you to our section for primary and intermediate teachers. But I'm going to be talking a bit about our Getting Started guide today. If you open up that Getting Started guide, you will see there are 2 documents. One is Getting Started for juniors, one is Getting Started for seniors. So if you would like to click on the junior one for today, if you're curious about what we offer for senior students, there is the separate document which gives an overview of our senior resources. But today we're going to focus on the one for juniors. Okay, so this is an example of what our junior resources matrix looks like. You can download it. It has links to resources on our website, and you can click on those. Just click on the resource title in bold. Our most popular resources are on the first page of the document, along with our newer resources. There are 2 resources missing because they're actually so new that we haven't had time to update this document yet. But I'll mention those to you today. There's also a key to tell you which themes relate to which resources. If you look for the colored squares, orange means that the resource covers all of the themes. You can also see which resources work well within the different learning areas. If you look for the circle with the letter, you'll notice that some of them have a W, and these are great for teaching a whānau class or something like that. The resources we'll be focusing on today are the student planners, Pacific Edition ones, investing in shares, a taxation module, and designing a tiny house, as well as one of our new resources about inflation. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to start with our student planners. We created these and they've been designed to reflect the values of learners from Pacific Island backgrounds, but they're fantastic to use with all of your students. These planners align to levels 4 and 5 of the curriculum, and they include many of our resources from other places on the site, but they've just been rolled into 2 handy planners. As well as the 2 student planners, we provide a teacher guide to help you teach these units. You can see the resources on the right-hand side, and if you click the Download All button, you can download the teacher guide and both student planners in one go. Now click on that star in the top right corner, and it will save this module to your teacher dashboard that I mentioned earlier, so you can easily find it later. Okay, so these planners are great because they have everything you need to teach a fantastic financial capability program. They include group and class tasks as well as individual tasks. The activities offer differentiation based on solo taxonomy. The planners include links to videos, tools, and interactives on the Sorted in Schools website and also on the Sorted site. They include clear outcomes for students at the beginning of each topic and a chance for reflection at the end. Our first planner is the Financial Identity Student Planner. You can see the topics here and the approximate teaching timeframes. This planner is all about the concept of financial identity. It really encourages students to think more deeply about their beliefs, knowledge, and behavior when it comes to money. It encourages students to examine the choices they make when it comes to saving and spending, and to think about the financial lessons they have learned from their family and community. Remember, these timeframes are just a guide. The timing will reflect your timetable, of course, and the needs of your students. Your class may work more quickly or slowly through the planner, or you may choose to spend more or less time focusing on certain topics. If you don't have time to teach it as a unit, you don't need to. You can just pick out certain activities. We understand that you are the best judge of what your students need. So today I'm going to pick out and talk about some of the activities that I think will work best in a maths class. This is our other planner. This is the Financial Sustainability Student Planner. And financial sustainability means achieving financial well-being over the long term. either individually or collectively, to support individuals or families in the future. This module aims to get students thinking ahead and learning how to set goals for a stable financial future. If you're teaching a Year 9 and a Year 10 class, I would recommend using the Financial Identity Planner for Year 9 and the Financial Sustainability Planner for Year 10 students. Budgeting activities are a great place to start with a maths class. These activities are from week 4 of the Financial Identity Student Planner. On the right-hand side, you can see our supermarket shopper activity. This is a very popular online interactive activity in which students are given 2 scenarios to choose from and need to shop for a flat with 4 people or shop for a 2-person vegetarian household. Alternatively, you can choose a custom budget and make up a scenario for your students. Students will be given a list of items and will be asked to categorize these as needs or wants. After that, you'll be able to choose items for their shopping list, or they'll be able to choose items for their shopping list to see if they can shop within their budget. You can also see that there is an activity which has instructions on how to create a budget spreadsheet, which is a great task for you to work on with your students in class. You can then see that there's a link to a Planning Your Financial Future worksheet there. That's a great activity which allows students to track someone's spending, identify needs and wants, use the sorted budgeting tool, and also to work out fractions. Students will also categorize spending within a budget and use Lego bricks to represent ratios. This is an example of an activity worksheet from the Managing My Money section in the student planner. This task asks students to look at the income and outgoings for this family. Unfortunately, this family are spending more than they are earning. So your students need to figure out a way to address that. They have a budget which goes into detail of what they're spending their money on, and students need to identify the fixed expenses and look at this family's spending to identify ways to reduce their outgoings. It asks students to work in groups to make suggestions on how this family could spend less and how they could balance their budget. So several of you said you wanted to teach your students about saving, and this is another great activity, great topic for a maths class. The saving section in the student planner introduces students to the idea of an emergency fund and why it is important. You'll also see a PowerPoint there which you can show to your class. All our PowerPoint resources can be downloaded and edited to suit the needs of your class. In this section, students will use the sorted saving calculator to work out a savings plan. They will have the opportunity to select different interest rates so they can see how interest rates can boost their savings. There's an activity to introduce learners to the wonderful concept of compound interest. So they'll take a look at a savings plan to understand how compound interest impacts savings over the long term. You may like to teach your students how to plan for short-term, medium-term, and long-term financial goals. In this section, students will learn how to calculate how much money they need to set aside over a period of time to achieve financial goals. One of the activities here, called Goal Setting for Sam, asks students to look at financial goals to figure out how Sam can save for a trip and a car. It asks students to look at his financial goals to figure out how he can save up for these things, and also how he can reduce expenses, and then how much interest he will gain on his savings. There is a link here to the Sorted Goal Planner. That's a great online resource which can support students to plan ahead, manage their money, and stay on track to reach their financial goals. Okay, so here we move on to tax. In 2021, we partnered with Inland Revenue. Our goal was to support students to understand what tax is, what it's used for, and how all citizens of New Zealand are involved in paying tax and benefiting from tax payments. Of course, we wanted to make tax interesting and engaging for students to learn about. These booklets include a range of resources with tasks, discussion questions, vocabulary, checkpoints, and even some assessment tasks. There are 6 booklets, and there is a large amount of content in each one. They are designed to give you flexibility though, so you can choose which tasks or topics your students would be interested in completing, or you can let students choose for themselves what they want to do from these booklets. The booklets are all interactive PDFs, so you can put them on Google Classroom and your students can type straight into the booklets. These resources can also be used with senior students if you're teaching seniors. This is an overview of the tax topics. There's an online booklet for each. As you can see, students learn about things like IRD numbers, income tax, PAYE, sources of income, GST, tax for businesses and not-for-profit, as well as KiwiSaver and student loans. I would recommend topic 3 for use in a maths class. Topic 3 is all about GST. In the GST topic booklet, learners will be asked to bring dockets and identify the GST inclusive and exclusive prices, and then add up the GST total. In one of the tasks from the booklet, which you can see here, students are asked to calculate both GST inclusive and GST exclusive prices. Students will learn about how GST is collected and paid, and they'll have to check GST amounts. They'll also fill out a GST flowchart to represent a supply chain from grower to consumer, in which they'll calculate the dollar amount which goes to inland revenue. The other taxation topics work very well in social sciences classrooms, so please share these resources with the social studies teachers in your school. Our Investing in Shares task is a popular resource which you can use to introduce your students to the topic of investing. It helps learners understand the basics about shares and how the share market works. This module includes a teacher guide to support you and a PowerPoint you can use to teach in class. This has all the information students need, so you don't have to create your own resources. Students will learn about plotting trend lines and describing and analysing long-term trends. They'll know why it is important to understand data when they're investing in shares. After this, they will complete a group project. This involves investigating and analysing several companies to choose which one they want to invest in, and then monitoring the share price of their chosen company to see if they have made a profit. This can be a good activity if you have a longer period of time for students to watch the share prices, which gives them an idea of how the share market fluctuates over time. However, if you don't have much time, you can do it in a week or a couple of weeks. You could even run a bit of a class competition to make it more fun, to see who makes the most money, in theory, from the share market. So this resource is called Designing a Tiny House, and it looks into the issue of housing for retirees. Learners need to plan and design a tiny house. They will be asked to interview a retired person to get an insight into their housing requirements. And then they will learn to calculate the surface area of geometric shapes and also the volume relating to the floor plan of their tiny house. They'll create a final plan with their design, including the floor plan layout and calculations. We are planning to update this task actually to include some costing for the tiny house, so please keep an eye out for updates. This is one of our very new resources that I mentioned. It's not actually on the Getting Started guide yet. So if you can't find this on the website, please just send me an email and I'll send you the link to it. When we did our student survey, students told us that they wanted to learn about inflation, so we listened and created this resource. These bite-sized resources are great because they give you some activities you can complete over 1 to 2 lessons. The worksheets are interactive PDFs, so you can download them and share them with your students. Students can type their answers into the document. There's another of these to cover the topic of cryptocurrency, which is another very popular topic with students. This inflation resource helps students understand why the price of goods and services increases over time, as well as the advantages and disadvantages of inflation. Learners will research how costs have increased over time. They will interpret data and look for patterns in a graph. They'll calculate a percentage increase and consider the impacts of inflation on families and businesses. They will also learn about KiwiSaver and compound interest while starting to think about the effect inflation has on these. These plans are great if you have a bit of time to fill, especially at this time, around this time at the end of the year. So I've covered all the resources I wanted to highlight for you today, but wanted to let you know what's coming up for Sorted in Schools. Next year, we are hoping to put together some teacher focus groups to hear feedback from teachers. We're also reviewing and updating a lot of our resources, and that will include the assessment materials as well. Soon, we will be launching a guide for school leavers, which has essential information as they prepare to go out into the world. Things like funding study, buying a car, and budgeting. We'll also be running PLD events at schools. So if you would like to host a PLD event for local schools in your areas, please get in touch. So as I said, I am here to support you. This is my email. Please send me an email if you have any questions or there's something that you can't find on the website, or if you want help putting together a financial capability program for your students. That's what I'm here for. I can set up online meetings, or I can come and visit you if you are in Auckland, which is where I am also based. So hopefully you're feeling inspired to teach your students about money. I hope you've seen something in the Sorted in Schools resources that you think will engage your learners, or it might just be a topic that you are keen to start with. Please feel free to leave a comment and tell us what you're thinking about teaching, or let me know if you have any questions. And that's all I had to share with you today. So I'm going to put it over to you and see if you've got any questions for me.